I don't even know how to start this video. I don't know if my tone's going to be elevated, if it's going to be somber. I took a night, slept on it, woke up even more upset than I was last night, if I'm being honest. That was the worst Philadelphia Eagles performance since the 2023 playoff loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the team was bad on all facets. The only players that do not get a pass: AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. You guys can leave. This isn't to you. The rest of the team was a disaster. This was a big, embarrassing loss that has me really concerned. Last week's Broncos loss showed a little bit of like, maybe we should, some pause for concern. But at the end of the day, we were 4-1 after playing what I believe to be 5 potential playoff teams and at least 4 definite playoff teams. The New York Giants aren't headed to the playoffs. The New York Giants just lost to the New Orleans Saints and had multiple turnovers in that game. This is a game that we talked about it in the preview. Not only should the Philadelphia Eagles have won, but they should have won handily, and it should have been a get-right game. And instead, we got doubled up. And I want to start with the defense because I have more to say about the offense, but the defensive points are pretty quick. The defense through 5 weeks has been solid. And on a short week, Vic Fangio is without Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith's on IR, and Quinyon Mitchell gets hurt early on in the game. That's 3 of the top 5 defensive players on this football team. So I'm not going to say, yes, let's just completely give them a pass, but I understand where last night went south, and you have to give credit where it's due. Jackson Dart for the New York Giants played a fantastic football game. He continuously well-navigated pockets, was able to make throws on the run, and showed off his arm strength. Those things happened. With Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith out, the Eagles' defensive line, they should have gotten more pressure. It doesn't get a complete pass, but at least we see the path to that being fixed, right? Like, the 2 best players on the defensive line were out. Zach Bond didn't play great, but again, he's having to recover for all of that. The Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman have no choice but to make a move for a cornerback too. Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson are free eats for any opposing quarterback and wide receiver. If you need proof, first drive of the game, Lil Jordan Humphrey is out here mossing Kelee Ringo. Wan'Dale Robinson's making him look silly, and then the guy's not even tapping him down. Adoree Jackson's effort when it comes to tackling, it's terrible. Both of these players are not NFL starting caliber corners, especially not for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. This is a joke. This team just won a Super Bowl. And this is the shit they're throwing out there. It's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. We're going with Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson. And some of this is on Howie. You let Isaiah Rodgers walk, knowing that was what you had in the waiting? We weren't at practice. We didn't see. I doubted Vic Fangio when he chose Adoree Jackson over Kelee Ringo. I apologize, Vic. I won't do that again. Because as bad as Adoree Jackson's effort is in the run game, he is nowhere near as free barbecue chicken eats as Kelee Ringo is. But both guys are a disaster. They have to make a move for a cornerback too. And I swear, man, if this team just waits it out and says, we have Bennett in the wings, I like Jacorian. I like him as a CB3. I like him as the guy who comes in Adoree Jackson's role if there's an injury. Because I don't ever want to see Ringo or Adoree on my screen again. This is a joke. of a cornerback room outside of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. You saw the second Quinyon Mitchell was out of that game, it was freeze. It was over. They weren't going to stop a nosebleed because the D-line's banged up. They weren't going to get the pressure. And those guys actually had to guard. And it was an impossibility for them. The defense will be better when that move is made. And as an Eagles fan, Howie Roseman has done us right. I'm going to allow the time to trust in him. I'm going to allow Howie the time to trust in him. Now, to the offense. This game, offensively, falls at the feet in the micro of Jalen Hurts. And I want to show you guys something. I want to show you guys a play here. It's been circling around on Twitter. Some of you may have seen it, some of you not. This is the interception. Fourth quarter, 2nd and 10. What was this? From the 15. Out to score. You score. This is a football game. And here we go. Smith in motion. Boom, boom. All right. AJ and Devonta Smith over here. Goddard and Dotson over here. Look at him. Look at Jalen. Predetermined. 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 Where's he looking? Only at Dotson. Watch AJ Brown. Wide open. Wide open for a touchdown. And instead, it's an interception going the other way. I don't know if Patullo is in his ear saying this ball has to go to Dotson. Dotson's the first read. Get the ball to whatever it is. As an NFL quarterback, you can't make that throw. You can't. And Jalen Hurts, that wasn't even his only mistake last night. He missed Devonta Smith on what was an easy 90-yard touchdown. The man had about 15 yards of separation. That is 14 extra points right there. And if you factor in the fact that that interception led to a touchdown for the Giants, we're talking about 21 additional points. A 21-point swing. That's the difference in the football game. Despite the defensive injuries, despite Quinyon Mitchell going out, despite Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson being free fucking eats time and time and time again. That swung the game. And it's on Jalen Hurts. And hey, listen, to Jalen's credit, post-conference, he acknowledged it. He said, it's on me. I did wrong, yada, yada, whatever you want to hear. He said that. But it doesn't matter. You played like shit. It was the worst performance from Jalen Hurts in years. And now we go to the macro. I don't know if Kevin Patullo is to blame for last night, because it was the third consecutive game that the Philadelphia Eagles did not score in the second half. And Lane Johnson said it. They've become too predictable. Saquon Barkley said that the play calling is not great and that the team, he put some of it on the team and said, we're not playing with that attitude we had last year of we dictate the pace of the game. The Eagles offense and Kevin Patullo are letting the defense dictate what they do instead of, getting their will going. You remember the Eagles games last year. They would run the ball 20, 25 times a game and wear defenses out. Right now, the run doesn't work, and Patullo gives up on it. And that's because I think the first 2 weeks, he just never threw the ball. The guy doesn't have a sense of play calling and mixing up things and dictating game pace. We saw it on display last week versus Denver when they have a 14-point lead in the second half, and Saquon Barkley finishes the game with 6 carries. And we see it in this game. It probably was the best of the last 3 games in terms of play calling for him, but still another goose egg in the second half. And if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, who pays Jalen Hurts franchise quarterback money, who just made Saquon Barkley the highest paid running back in the league, who has this well-paid wide receiver duo, who pays the offensive line. It's the most expensive offense in NFL history. And I've seen proof of concept that it works because last year they were dominant and won a Super Bowl. And now this year, in terms of offensive rankings, they're down there with the Browns and the Titans. Something's got to change, man. Something's got to change. We're 6 weeks into the NFL season. This isn't, we're just getting our footing. It's the middle of October. And it's getting worse. Do I think last night in the micro is on Kevin Patullo? I do not. But in the macro, with how bad this offense has been all year, there's been 2 changes. Tyler Steen is now the right guard instead of Mekhi Becton. And Kevin Patullo is the offensive coordinator instead of Kellen Moore. And unless you're going to try and convince me that the right guard takes an offense from a top 5 unit into a bottom 3, then I guess it's on Kevin Patullo, man. Because whether or not he's good at his job, I don't know. But I know he's a terrible fit with this team. The synergy is not there with him and Jalen Hurts when it comes to play calling. The synergy is not there with him and this team when it comes to play calling. The offense doesn't run close to its capabilities. He doesn't play to Jalen Hurts' strengths. He doesn't get a good rhythm going when it comes to play calling. He favors one side or the other. We don't see a consistent mix. He is very predictable. That's why in the second half, these defenses are able to shut out an offense with that much talent because they know what's coming. How many times last night did you see Jalen Hurts immediately get pressured or Saquon Barkley immediately get hit because the defense knew what was coming? Yes, the offensive line has to be better, but the defense is able to guess and predict your plays. That's on coaching. There is a lot wrong with this football team. Miraculously, the talent has led them to 4-2. But if you don't make changes, this will be reminiscent of the 2023 season. And the 2023 season was inevitable because there wasn't defensive talent. The offense kept winning in these shootout games and making massive plays and covering up for it. Right now, the offense is the problem, but at least you have the talent. It can be fixed, but not by doing nothing. You got Minnesota. Take these 10 days, look in the mirror, and figure it out. You have to execute better, and you might need to make a change. And Howie Roseman, you have to get a cornerback too. You have to. It is general managing malpractice to go out there with this same cornerback 2 group week in and week out. I just watched the Cleveland Browns trade Greg Newsome. That would have been nice. Instead, here we are. 10 days, mini bye. Team desperately needs it. Last year, the team was 4-2, and they only lost 1 more game the rest of the season. It's not too late. Mini bye. You play Minnesota. You play this Giants team again. Get your lick back. Go into the bye week 6-2. And progress forward. But change has to happen now. Change to the roster in terms of a cornerback too. I'd make a change at offensive coordinator. I'd try and bring in a Frank Reich. What do the Dolphins want for Mike McDaniel? You could trade coaches. Not Sirianni for McDaniel, but you can trade for Mike McDaniel and bring him on as an OC for this year. Change has to be made. Otherwise, there's not a shot in hell this team goes back-to-back. You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Somehow, some way still. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this team? I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.